Greetings all! Now let's turn our attention to using the MARF lesson plans. In this section, we're going to discuss the available scope and sequences to choose from, the pacing of the lesson delivery within the scope and sequence, regrouping, and finally, phonemic awareness. Referring to your manual or looking through our website, you'll find we have several scope and sequences: kindergarten, first grade, pre-second grade, second grade, other grades, and intermediate. Each one of these resides within that particular grade level folder. The kindergarten, first grade, and second grade are traditional grade level scope and sequences. The pre-second grade scope and sequence is intended to address the needs of those students not yet solid with short vowels, H brothers, blends, and clusters, and can be used before the second grade plans or the other plans. The other grade scope and sequence is the same content as the second grade scope and sequence. It's just in a slightly different order. It introduces multisyllabic words more quickly and syllable division also. One of the things we find with older students is their morale and their willingness to really work is diminished. So if we get multisyllabic words in front of them sooner, it helps them re-engage. And then finally, there's an intermediate scope and sequence, which is a 20-minute lesson plan, as opposed to all the rest being 45-minute lesson plans. It's directed at third grade and above for kids who are on grade level, and it focuses on syllable division, prefixes, and suffixes. The kindergarten, first grade, and other scope and sequences also have a column labeled pacing or level. Pacing 1 or level 1 is above grade level pacing. Pacing 2 or level 2 is grade level pacing. And pacing 3 or level 3 is below grade level pacing. To use the pacing or level columns, you need to select the appropriate pacing or level for your group of students. Look through that column of data, looking for an X or a number in the column. If there's an X or a number, you want to deliver that lesson. If it's blank, you want to skip the lesson down to the next X or number. If you find that the pacing is too slow or too fast, it's perfectly acceptable to change the pacing to meet the student's needs. Feel free to move between the columns. For example, you might decide to start with pacing 2, then move to pacing 3 to slow down as content becomes more difficult, and then later back as content becomes easier with pacing 2. You don't want to skip around within the lesson plans, skipping between rows. Let me give you an example of skipping around. Today, I delivered lesson 10, and tomorrow I'm going to do 6, and then the day after, I'm going to do 14. It's very common for all of us to want to skip around to try to match their core. This is what you don't want to do. The problem is there's a lot of material in the lesson plan that is intended to be review, and it may not have been taught yet if you're skipping around. However, if you're teaching older students, you can skip ahead if you feel that your students know the teach new content. Just be aware, skipped content will be in the review words to read and spell. Regrouping. We do recommend that you utilize a skill-based grouping model so that core instruction can be delivered at the student's instructional level. What does a skill-based grouping model look like? All the grade level teachers deliver OG simultaneously. The students change classrooms, and based on skill are regrouped across grade level. It's always desirable to have additional teaching resources if possible. So if you have 3 grade level teachers plus 1 special ed teacher, you can adjust your group sizes. It's a good idea to vary group sizes based on skill level. Above grade level groups can be large, 20+ students. Challenge students, however, should be in small groups. 6 is the perfect size. When do you begin skill-based grouping? Using first grade data in second grade, you can start regrouping at the beginning of the year. If this is not available to you, begin regrouping as soon as you have BOY data. Kindergarten and first grade usually don't start diverging significantly until a little later in the year. We normally suggest regrouping first grade at the beginning of the second quarter and kindergarten in January. You want to assess students regularly, at least beginning of the year and then quarterly, and adjust groups as indicated by the data. Let's talk about intervention with your struggling students. You want them to get a second dose of the same material, not teach them something new. Align the intervention instruction with the whole class content to provide the repetition and reinforcement that they need. Finally, phonemic awareness. We cannot overemphasize the importance of phonemic awareness in teaching students to read, especially struggling students. You need to know if you have students with phonemic awareness challenges. Address these challenges at the same time as you're addressing reading. If the student cannot blend the words successfully when you provide the sounds, they certainly will not succeed in blending when they provide the sounds. In kindergarten and first grade, phonemic awareness is included in the lesson plans. If you have students who struggle with the phonemic awareness skills, you may need to move back to an earlier skill. For example, if you have a student who struggles with segmenting words with 3 phonemes, you can step back to an easier segmenting task by providing words that have 2 phonemes. If this is still too difficult, you may need to provide 2-syllable words for them to segment into syllables. Here are several choices for older students. Pull components from the first grade or the kindergarten lesson plans. On our website, under Lesson Plans, there is Folder 8, Phonemic Awareness. There you'll find a survey and quick activities. Bring in outside resources. Michael Haggerty is used by many schools. It just needs to be quick. 3 to 5 minutes a day is all you want to do. With that, we've completed our discussion of using the MARF lesson plans. We've talked about the several scope and sequences available to you, how to use the different pacings, the importance of regrouping and how you would go about regrouping, and ways to address phonemic awareness. Let us know if there's anything we can do to further your use of MARF lesson plans.